Helsinki is the only European capital with no medieval past. The Russians took over Finland in 1809. The oldest parts of Helsinki, around Market and Senate Square, feel so Russian because the architect modeled them after St. Petersburg. There are many sights to see, so you'll be busy on your day in port. Let's get started. The Rotterdam arrived at the Hernesaari Quay, LHD, southwest of Helsinki. Hernesaari is the primary cruise port for ships that are greater than 750 feet in length. The terminal is not within easy reach of Helsinki, so you have 5 options to get downtown. 1. A cruise shuttle for about $12 round trip that drops you off at the Old Market. 2. A hop-on, hop-off bus for touring the somewhat spread-out city. 3. Take public transportation such as tram 7 or 9. 4. Take a taxi to your desired location. Or 5. Buy a ship excursion with transportation included. We purchased a hop-on, hop-off tour for about $33 for the transportation and the sights included in its route. This tour gives you a good overview of the city with a stop at all important sites. The main vendor is City Sightseeing Helsinki, and it greets arriving cruisers at the terminal. Its 90-minute loop connects downtown Helsinki with several outlying sites, and the buses run every 30 to 45 minutes. Tickets are valid for 24 hours. I would caution you to make sure you understand the bus's schedule and the departure points for the bus ride that's back to your ships if you choose this option. Our first stop on the hop-on, hop-off bus tour was Temple Iakio, or the Church in the Rock, that was blasted out of granite in 1969. It is one of Helsinki's best sites and is located in a residential area. The hop-on, hop-off bus drops you off a couple of blocks away from the church, so it's a quick 5-minute walk to get there. The church is capped with an awe-inspiring copper and skylight dome. Make sure you sit down in a pew and look upward at the 13-mile-long coil of copper ribbon that makes up the roof. The church's beautiful organ normally fills the church with live music for visitors. The church's altar is simplistic yet spiritual as it is bathed in sunlight. We spent about 20 minutes here enjoying the Church in the Rock's simple sophistication. A slightly longer visit of 30 minutes will give you more time to appreciate the church, but we wanted to catch the next bus and not wait another 30 minutes for the following one. Admission to the church is €8. Our next stop was the Sibelius Monument, 600 stainless steel pipes called Love of Music that is built in a solid rock formation. It honors Finland's greatest composer, Jean Sibelius. Stand inside the monument. If there's a gentle breeze, you might just hear a bit of music from those pipes. A 10-minute visit here is more than enough. For me, the monument is nice, but I wouldn't make a separate trip just to see it. The bus also stops at the Olympic Stadium, which hosted the 1952 Summer Olympics. The stadium's distinctive tower is about 240 feet high. You can take an elevator to the top for amazing views of the surrounding Olympic venues and Helsinki proper. We rode the hop-on, hop-off bus until we reached Senate Square. Thus, we passed the Linnanmäki Amusement Park, the Helsinki City Theatre, and the Hakaniemi Market Square without leaving the bus. As you can see the architecture here, it has an intentional European style, which is surprising consider, as I said before, the Russians built the city. The Russians hired a German architect who gave it its European flair. Seen here is the original yellow building that is now the Prime Minister's office. Directly across from the Prime Minister's office is the University of Helsinki's main building. Both the university and the government buildings in the square use the Lutheran Cathedral as a starting point for grand ceremonies. Next to the university is the National Library of Finland. The library, in its heyday, received a copy of every book printed in the Russian Empire and claims to have the finest collection of the Slavic books in the world. Senate Square is anchored by the Lutheran Cathedral. A huge staircase leads up to the church. This green dome cathedral is a 19th century neoclassical masterpiece. Its gleaming white facade showcases the 12 apostles overlooking the city and harbor. The church was under renovation when we visited, so we couldn't take a peek inside, even though it's free to enter. Make sure you head up the steps and enjoy the view of the entire Senate Square. Those steps are a popular meeting place in Helsinki. We highly recommend that you spend some time here just enjoying the ambience and the exquisite architecture. In the center of the square is a statue of the Russian Tsar Alexander II. He gave Finland more autonomy in 1863 and did not push for the Russification of Finland, so he was very popular with the Finnish people. A short walk leads you to another magnificent church, the Uspenski Orthodox Cathedral, which is also free to enter. This house of worship was built for the Russian military in 1868. It sits above Market Square and faces the Lutheran Cathedral, just as Russian culture faces Europe. The cathedral's uppermost onion dome represents the Sacred Heart of Jesus. The smaller ones represent his 12 apostles. It really is a must-see landmark. There are no pews as the congregation stands during services. In the front left corner is an icon featuring the Madonna and Child. It is surrounded by rings and jewelries given in thanks for prayers answered. We spent about 30 minutes here to take in the architectural beauty. From the hilltop, you can see the presidential palace. Instead of catching the bus, we walked for about 5 minutes to get to the heart of the city harbor, and Market Square is anchored by the Tsarina stone, an obelisk with a double-headed eagle of Imperial Russia. We strolled through the harbor front for about 30 minutes, browsing and souvenir shopping. Browsing led to buying. We took home souvenirs of a sweatshirt and a trivet made from cross sections of juniper twigs. They smell very woodsy when you set something hot on them. Many folks grabbed a quick lunch at one of the many food stalls here. And from here, the hop-on hop-off bus took us back to the cruise ship. At the end of the day, we sailed away in the Archipelago Sea. It's filled with thousands of little islands. It's scenic, but less so than the Stockholm archipelago that we would see later in the cruise. We enjoyed our day in Helsinki, experiencing the beautiful architecture of its cathedrals and the church in the rock, the Sibelius Monument, Olympic Stadium, and the Old Market Hall. You can choose to devote more of your time here, absorbing Finnish design and architecture, enjoying a sauna at Loili or Alice, taking a ferry boat to Suomenlinna Fortress, or the Susari Open Air Museum. Thanks for watching.